Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. I was just sitting here scrolling through Facebook and some other websites and making note of things that are going on. And some things just strike me as begging for commentary because they're so stupid. I can't believe that we're still having to deal with some of this stuff, but given the state of the country and the state of our culture, I guess it shouldn't surprise me too much. But just to dive right in here, among the things I saw, and this comes from AmmoLand, Shooting Sports News, and it is dated February 23rd. Below the radar, HR 880 amends the Consumer Product Safety Act. And basically it's, once again, another attempt by Biden to make owning firearms, purchasing firearms, etc., more difficult. In the 116th Congress, Kelly introduced the Firearm Safety Act. That's Chicago's Reuben Kelly. The Firearm Safety Act of 2019, which placed firearms under the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Now it's back as HR 880, and the problems it had when it was reviewed last year are still there. There is, of course, the fact that it hands massive powers over our Second Amendment rights to unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats. Now, when it comes to some things, let's just say utilities, for example. Maybe your local or state government turns over utilities and the handling of them to unelected bureaucrats. They're trying to spread the responsibilities around. They can't do everything themselves, right? Well, that's one thing. But when it comes to our rights, which the purpose of the government is to protect those rights, then there's a very specific way that is done, and there's a very specific group of people who are supposed to do it. This idea of turning it over to unelected bureaucrats, where we have no recourse, it should frighten you. And it should frighten the liberals, the ones who, I know they're loving it because anything that they think is going to restrict gun ownership, they're all for it. But it should scare them too, because if we can do this with the Second Amendment and that right, then what else can it be done with? And eventually, any of you liberals out there listening, eventually they're going to get to something you do care about, and something, it's a right that you are worried about, concerned about. And then what are you going to do? You're going to call on your Republican or conservative friends to help you out? And then you're going to get butt hurt when they tell you to go pound sand? And if you're not willing to stand up for people's rights, whether you like them or not, then don't be surprised when someone comes after your rights. And it's going to happen. You may not believe it right now, but it will. So they're going to, they're just going to continue to do it. I'll continue reading the article. In some ways, this is worse than the, quote, stroke of the pen, law of the land, unquote, executive orders. Executive orders can be undone by a president. The DC bureaucracy, though, is an entirely different matter, especially when it comes to their edicts. Presidents have a much harder time undoing them. Imagine, for instance, if anti-Second Amendment extremists try to use the CPSC's reporting process to claim popular firearms like the AR-15 and Glock are unsafe, trying to trigger an involuntary recall. Oh, that would never happen. Yeah, would it? See, some of you people, and shame on the school system. I'll blame this. I'll put the blame where it needs to be. Not just the public school system, but our universities and colleges, because nobody teaches the Constitution anymore. If they touch on it at all, they'll mention that it was written by old white men who own slaves, if they mention it at all. But they won't talk about it. They won't talk about your rights. They won't talk about where your rights come from, thus leaving you to conclude that your rights come from government. And we all know that if the government has the power to grant you rights, it also has the power to take them away. So they're not really rights, are they? If the government can give them and take them at will, then they're just privileges. Maybe if you're a good boy or a girl, the government will give you a special privilege for a while. So I'm telling you, liberals, whoever you are, you better wake the hell up. Because this stuff you're pushing for and advocating for now, while it may please you at the moment, you're going to find out at some point in the future that it's going to get turned on you. And don't be surprised when your conservative friends tell you to kiss their ass, and they're not going to do anything to help you because you weren't there when they needed you. Oh, here's one. You're going to love this. Now, this is from MSN Entertainment on March 1st. It's not March 1st. Well, they've got it dated March 1st, 2021. But anyway, misogynistic, sexist, and a bit rapey. Calls for iconic movie Grease to be banned. A bit rapey. Okay. Oh, who are these people? Social media users are calling to ban the iconic 1970s hit film Grease, condemning it for being sexist, homophobic, and slut-shaming. A Boxing Day viewing of the film on BBC One sparked outrage online, with many Twitter users calling the film outdated. Well, hey, dumbasses, don't watch it. Problem solved. You can thank me later. What the hell is wrong with these idiots? A bit rapey. Sorry, but Grease sucks on so many levels. No plot, nothing interesting happens, and the message is pure misogyny, said another. Oh, Lordy. Who is raising these people? Who is giving birth to these kids and rearing them to be this stupid? So we're going to get rid of Grease now. Or you could do like I just said, just don't watch it. You know, do you think there aren't movies out there that I don't like? That my friends don't like? Of course there are. Are we calling for them to be banned? Are we calling for certain books to be banned? No, we're not. Because we're grown-ups. And grown-ups make decisions. And if you don't like something, you don't have to look at it. You don't have to listen to it. It's embarrassing that I have to explain this to you idiots. So what other movies are we going to get rid of? Boy, you know, hey, guys, in the comment section, all my friends out there watching this, pick a movie. Go out there, find one that you find offensive for whatever reason. Or you can name the reason. That'd be fun. Tell us why you think that that particular movie is offensive, or maybe a TV show. And then tell us why it should be banned. No one should be allowed to watch it. This could be a fun exercise. Here's one for my Virginia friends. This is from the NBC 12 on Your Side Facebook page. Politics. Virginia passes bill to ban firearms at state capitol. Well, who didn't see that coming? But what I love here is the first sentence. I want you to listen to this while I read it to you and tell me what pops into your head. And when in the comment section, I'm going to give you a second or two after I finish reading it and let you think about it. And then I want you to give me an answer in the comment section. Both chambers of the Virginia General Assembly passed a bill Monday banning individuals from bringing firearms on the grounds of the state capitol and buildings owned by the Commonwealth. You want me to read it again? Real quick, I'll do it again. Both chambers of the Virginia General Assembly passed a bill Monday banning individuals from bringing firearms on the grounds of the state capitol and buildings owned by the Commonwealth. What stands out to you in that sentence? What is the problem with that sentence? I'm going to tell you in a few minutes, but I want to give you a chance. I want to see what your answers are. Continuing. The bill would make it a Class 1 misdemeanor. There are exceptions for law enforcement and security. Of course, because only the state should have guns. Anyway, all right, have you had enough time to think about it? Here's what I think. On the grounds of the state capitol and buildings owned by the Commonwealth. Who the hell owns those buildings? Who pays for them? You with me? Who pays for that? It's you and me. That's our property, not theirs. They don't get to tell me what I can and can't bring on my property. Either that or you stop taking money out of my paycheck to pay for it. You stop taking money out of my purchases to pay for it. If I can't come on my own property with a firearm, property that I'm paying for, then it's not my property at all, is it? And yet I'm being charged for it. I'm being made to pay for it. Something wrong with this picture, folks. But that's the way they think. It's their property, right? Not yours and mine, despite the fact that we're paying for it. All right, that's 3 articles that got my attention. Here's the last one. I'll finish up with this one. This is from Blaze Media. All right, you know that is Glenn Beck. All right, Democrats call on President Biden to surrender sole control of nuclear weapons. Democrats, not the Republicans. Democrats call on President Biden to surrender sole control of nuclear weapons. Subtitle, Time to Install Additional Checks and Balances. Now, refresh my memory. As much as the Democrats hated, they still hate Trump. They can't let it go. They got what they wanted. Trump's out of office now. We can argue later about how legit that was. But the fact is, he's gone. He's not in office anymore. And they still can't let it go. But did the Democrats at any point during Trump's tenure, and if they did, post it in the comments for me because I don't remember seeing it. Did they call for Trump to give up sole control of nuclear weapons? I know they were concerned he might start a nuclear war with North Korea or something. I remember them raging about that, and we saw how that turned out. But did they call for him to give up sole control? And if they did, that wouldn't surprise me. But what does surprise me is they're calling on Biden to do it. Now, I don't know how this is supposed to manifest in their eyes, who's going to have control over it or how many people will have control over it. But I just find it interesting that they don't want Biden having sole control of it. Why? What is it about Biden having sole control that worries them? Let me read a little bit here and see if we learn anything from it. Congressional Democrats sent a letter to President Joe Biden this week urging him to give up his sole authority to launch nuclear weapons, Politico reported Tuesday. The lawmakers said they want to reform the decision-making process the United States uses in its command and control of nuclear forces. Currently, only the president has the authority to launch U.S. nuclear weapons, though he has advisors available to consult on any such decision. There is nothing that says he must consult with him. And that is worrisome. The 31 Democratic letter signers stated, citing actions of both former Presidents Donald Trump and Richard Nixon. Okay, well, you knew they had to bring those in there somewhere. Vesting one person with this authority entails real risks. Past presidents have threatened to attack other countries with nuclear weapons or exhibited behavior that caused other officials to express concern about the president's judgment. Well, again, even if he gives the order, do you think the Joint Chiefs of Staff or other advisors around him are just going to sit back and go, oh, yeah, sure, go ahead? I mean, seriously. I mean, if it's obvious that the man's lost his mind and there's no reason to launch a nuclear attack, you don't think some of these people are going to step in and go, sir, no, we're not doing that. You can't do that. But again, I just find it fascinating that Democrats are saying this to Joe Biden. I'm going to be curious to see how they want to draw this up, to who they're going to give this authority to, how many people are going to be involved, what the process is going to look like in their mind. But you never can tell with these jokers. So anyway, those are just some of the things I saw on the news feed and just made me want to make a comment on them. So anywho, when it comes to future videos, guys, if there's anything you particularly want to see me make a video on, whether it's something in the news, something culturally, something funny, whatever it is, go ahead and, in the comment section, let me know what you want to see. I mean, obviously, up till now, most of the videos are what I want to talk about. But what do you want to talk about? What would you like to see me do a video on? Let me know. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you later.